Oh God. Okay, we are good to start. So I want to welcome you all. This is the Each One Teach One series of the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda, where we share knowledge on different things in regards with education, but also ICT in general. So time is fast spent. I'm not going to go into a lot, but I want to introduce our speaker for the day, and that is Mr. Luwama Stewart. Mr. Luwama Stewart is the head teacher of Comprehensive SS Serinya, the chairperson for the Initiative for Teachers Advocacy, and the district education leader for Star Education Program Uganda. So allow me at this moment to invite him. I've known him for some time and is actually also my teacher as well. And we are sponsored by RAPT, Tosmic Events, Shareability Uganda Limited, and Izon School of Computing. So, Mr. Luwama Stewart, the audience we normally expect on this call is mainly for ICT teachers, but also people who are into the field of ICT but dealing with different things. Some are web designers, some are software engineers, among others. So, at this material time, I want to welcome you. Please pass on the information to the teachers. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Tom Sevalamu. Let me hope I'm clear, members.
Yes, you are very clear.
Okay, a very good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Tom, for the opportunity you've given unto me to also be here onto your space that we can share with colleagues about a variety of very many issues. As you have introduced me, one, I am very proud that you're one of my own, someone I've known for some good time, a person we've grown up with, and I'm lucky to be one of your, to have been one of them. But also seeing you progressing and transforming into the man you are and leading initiatives such as this one. Colleague members, all of you in your capacities, I've also seen here Mr. Segirinya, Stephen. He's also one of my colleagues I worked with, a super gentleman, and so much excited that I met you along this life's journey. Colleagues, as I've been introduced, mine is Stewart Lubwama. I am a teacher by profession, and I'm also the head teacher of Comprehensive Senior Secondary School. I've been in the teaching profession for some good time. I began straight after finishing my senior 6. I also happen to be the chairperson of Initiative for Teachers Advocacy, an advocacy which brings together both teachers of primary and secondary schools, mainly in Entebbe. But besides that, I also happen to be serving with STAR Education Program. STAR is Schools Teachers Initiative for Results. It's a London-based organization, but it works with the Ministry of Education and ASHU, where they design modules termly with an aim of ensuring that teachers love teaching and learners love learning. Basically, that is what I can say about myself, but also I'm someone who is very passionate about leadership, living along school leadership, but also getting involved into leadership, that is national leadership. And I'm one of the people who had the ground, passed the vetting of NUP, but never got the card. However, we thank the Lord for the opportunity, and we believe maybe with time in the future, we shall realize that goal as well. So today I've been invited here by Mr. Tom and members to see that we can discuss at latitude on the topic of discovering the skill of leadership as a teacher. I don't know how we shall do it, but I would request that we have an engaging session. However, but if the moderator would guide, maybe we can have it all at once, maybe, or we can have a Q&A, or we can have myself presenting, then afterwards, we shall have you chip in later on. Mr. Tom, could we give members a chance also to say a word, those who are around, that they can introduce themselves, or we shall have it at the end of the discussion?
Since it is about introductions, maybe we can have one at a time.
Okay.
Yes, but briefly, of course.
Okay.
So that we are all in the know of which people have joined us. And probably, if they are teachers, it would actually be so okay if they could make a mention of the school, if it is okay with them, so that we are on the same page.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think I can start. Probably the order doesn't matter. The only issue is they are having organization. I'll begin with myself, followed by Bishop. I'm seeing an account in the names of Bishop's Girls School. I have Namara Ruben Omoding. I think we are going to follow that order. So briefly, I'm Sebalam Eric Tom, an ICT teacher at St. Mark's College, Namagoma. So the next person is Bishop. Kindly unmute and also take us through the same.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Peterson Atarema. I'm a teacher at Bishop Sugaro School, Shere, and I'm as well the Director of Studies there.
Yes, yes, good evening. Good evening, teachers.
Good evening. Yes, we are getting you. Kindly unmute and communicate. Okay, I don't know who that was. I have Mr. Omoding Thomas Ochan, please.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Omoding Thomas Ochan, as made mention by the host, teacher at St. Andrews SS Lotome in Napaka district. I'm glad to be here, an ICT teacher. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omoding. Bishop.
Good evening, teachers. This is Mr. Bishop Mosene Derrick from Lakeview, Entebbe.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Okay, I'm seeing Madam Rebecca Naroga. Okay, I guess she's not in position unless otherwise, Madam Rebecca. Okay, Mr. Segirinya Stephen.
Yes, good evening, members. I'm Stephen Segirinya. I'm a data assistant at Karangala Health Center 4 and a volunteer teacher at Bishop Danistan Secondary School, Karangala. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm having someone called Namara Ruben. Okay, I have someone called the teacher. I'm only seeing teacher.
Thank you so much. My name is Salongo Abdul Kalitwe, teacher of ICT, Chivuli Senior Secondary School, Kampala.
Okay, additionally, I think the only person that has not introduced is Christopher. Yes, Christopher, unmute, please. Okay. So Christopher and Rebecca could not be in position. Maybe Mr. Luama can proceed for the meantime.
Yeah. Otherwise, thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you for the introduction that we have had. Let me hope I'm clear with everybody. Do you get me, Mr. Tom?
Yes, very clear, sir.
So I would wish that if possible, you allow me begin with this quotation from a gentleman known as John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell once wrote and said that there are two great days in your life. And he said these days are, one, the first day, which is great according to him, is the day when we were born. Then the second day, which is very important, is finding out why you were born. And there is also another scholar. He's known as Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel wrote a passage in his book known as Souls on Fire. When he wrote, he said like this. He was asking that when you die and you meet your maker in a situation, he means the creator. Everybody knows that when we die, depending on which religion, we shall go back and meet our creator. He was saying that you are not going to be asked why you did not become a Messiah or find a cure for cancer. He said all you're going to be asked is, why didn't you become you? Why didn't you become all that you are? Colleagues listening to me, when I listen to those two great writers, I find it very soul-filling that in the end of it all, to those of us who live, everybody has a purpose as to why they were born. To be born, it's not an every person's choice. It's an opportunity that we are lucky that we have got. But to make sense out of this is, when we are born, we ought to know why exactly do we exist. Now it comes back to the life of a teacher, that as teachers, we are born unique. We are born in a way that we are naturally leaders. The mere fact that you're a teacher, literally, you lead, you are a leader. You're in charge of very many souls, young, and depending on which class you have. I've had discussions with you, Mr. Tom, where you have shared that even you have adult classes, sometimes you teach. Now, you might find you handling people of that age. Now, is it enough as a teacher to stop at merely instructing learning? Or as a teacher and naturally therefore a leader, because you manage, you handle people, you ought to ensure that you exploit all that your profession, your being has. And this one brings me to what we call leadership. Leadership in a school setting. It is very important that when we become teachers, we do not only stop at being classroom teachers, because there are levels, there are ladders which can be available for anybody who chooses to ensure that he perfects their work. I so much believe if you take on a mantle of being in charge of not only the class which you have for 40 or for 45 minutes, but you also go ahead that you are tasked with responsibilities. It can be a head of department. It can be maybe a games and sports teacher in charge. You could be an assistant DOS, a senior man. It can be anything else that you can add as responsibility. For me, I believe that would be an opportunity for you to grow and learn. So personally, this is something I've done, maybe sharing a little bit about my experience, that even before going to Makerere to graduate as a professional teacher, I had already begun serving as maybe the patron for our house, Lumumba, if Tom you would remember, at Promise High School. Then from there, I went as far as being deputy head teacher. Can you imagine, even before I was a teacher graduated? But when I went to Makerere, the same happened. After graduating, you would find that in 2018, I was becoming head teacher of Victorian High School. I always took this one as an opportunity to have responsibility, an opportunity to inspire, an opportunity to see that I can become all that I am or all that I was destined to be. So it's from here that I would like to challenge colleague teachers in the ICT department, because you, unlike some of us, your discipline already implies a leader, because as an ICT teacher, you a change agent. You may wish to notice it or not, but you would find being an ICT teacher simply means you're going to be in charge of innovations. In other words, technologies and ICT, the little knowledge I have is sometimes it is something that grows and outgrows. As we are talking today, we are having Zoom. As we are talking today, we are having phones that we are using. Before you know, new editions. Before you know, new models. Before you know, new types are going to be brought on board. What does that mean? It simply means that there is someone who is behind that. But again, even you need to adapt. You need to ensure that you acquire new skills along the way. You need to keep yourself updated. And you can see, oh, those are good qualities of being a leader. As an ICT teacher, you're also a problem solver. You diagnose and fix issues, both technical and even human. And you would find that these are salient values and features of anybody who would want to be a leader. As an ICT teacher, you're a collaborator, because in our teaching or in your teaching, you're supporting others, other teachers, to see that they can teach or they can learn. Or you would find that in the way that you're doing your teaching, it involves working with others. And what is that if it's not leadership at play? Because leadership means working with people. But you would see even in your work as ICT teachers, it involves what we call data-driven. It involves input of what we call data, making decisions, among others. It needs analysis. And I always challenge my ICT teacher or some colleagues of mine who I teach with or who are head teachers in other schools. You would find sometimes we go for meetings where they are inviting head teachers, especially when it comes to UNEB and other things. Some teachers come alongside other teachers. I was sometimes curious to ask, who are these people who accompany these head teachers? Colleague friends, the answer would always be, it is an ICT teacher, because he's the one who is friendly to ICT tools of computers and others to enter data of students. Mr. Segirinya can bear me witness. When I came at Comprehensive Secondary School, he was in charge of almost all data, including lean numbers for learners. He was a wizard of himself, and he was working under an authority where he was the only person who could do that. Now you see, as a teacher, an ICT teacher, therefore, you have an advantage. You have an edge over some people because these are skills we need. But also, maybe very lastly, as an ICT teacher, as I've told you, there is a lot of changes that come with the tools that you use. It makes you people to be focused, to be comfortable, to be adaptable to very many situations and very many things. This one really puts you at a center where it makes you feel that it gives you an edge over some people. So how about if we are to ask, what if the next generation of school leaders, that one I want to mean head teachers, they can be principals, they can be directors of studies, they could be any other titles you talk about. How about if the next generation of school leaders came from ICT department? Wouldn't that really be beautiful? Because we could see, and we cannot run away from change and what is happening. You're going to find that everything is digitalized. You're going to find that manual labor and whatsoever is losing market. And I so much believe it does not only stop in those fields, but it also comes back in management in institutions. You're going to find that someone who would be having these competencies that you people have is someone who ranks highly, who can outshine anybody. So as our topic says, we want to discover the skill of leadership as teachers. And at this, I would want to speak specifically to the ICT teachers. I sometimes find it also a little bit hard with some of you, where you are knowledgeable about these up-to-date or latest technologies, which we have seen that they are so very essential for the day-to-day running of the school settings. But sometimes some of you really, because you know, some people get satisfied with that little satisfaction. And they say, the good thing is the computer lab will not run without me. You are seeing nowadays it is online. Schools are having platforms like social media handles, even if it's Facebook, X, among others. You can see even websites. At least each school would want to have its name out there. And again, you see, some of your colleagues, you end up getting satisfied with that. Sometimes even you do this work just out of courtesy, which is okay if you are planning for a long-term investment. You never know, maybe for another opportunity that you will get, that you will exploit. But I'm saying, come on, you can change this competence, these skills, and turn out to take these responsibilities in schools, that you do not only stop at leading in those levels. You can really use these competencies and become leaders in those institutions. Like myself, there is no extra course I did. I've never gone either to do a master's in education management. I've never done anything else. But what happens? You show out what you can do it with passion. Do it with passion. It goes back to the question I was asking you, Souls on Fire, as I've told you about that gentleman called Elie Wiesel, where he was challenging, when you go back to the maker, what will they really ask you? All you are going to be asked is, why didn't you become you? Why didn't you become all that you are? And becoming all that you are, you just need to define your passion. Also get to know what can you do. Then how can you use what you can do to help others? And that is simply about leadership. And I've told you, as ICT teachers, I've not seen anyone who can outshine you easily. It would take someone who has invested a lot. So I feel you are in the right position. Maybe also to tell you, comrades, that leadership is not about titles or positions. It's about one life influencing another. Again, that gentleman I told you about, John C. Maxwell, talked about leadership in that aspect. That leadership is not about the titles or the positions. It's about one life influencing another. I've showed you how ICT teachers you can influence others and how you can help others. But I've also asked you, what if the next generation of leaders came from the ICT department? I think we shall have something very transformative and transitional from what we are having as a country, but also to project and put our community in situations where we shall compete with other communities elsewhere. It is also very important for you to know that in leadership, it's about influence. It's about having a vision and inspiring. But most importantly, is ensuring that you can give a service beyond self. It will come with what we call sacrifice. It comes with commitment. It comes with you being the first example. When they are looking for people who are good at meeting their lesson objectives, ensuring that you lead your learners to perform well academically, you become a leader at that level, not because of the authority the position gives you, but the fact that you are an example which can be reckoned with. That is very important. I've always told members in the staff from where I teach, and I remember when I was doing my interview with Comprehensive Secondary School, they asked me, what are you going to do different? And I told them, they were asking about my leadership style, something like that. And I remember I told them that I will lead by example. Then secondly, I will ensure that I inspire. Therefore, as ICT teachers, as you inspire learners to understand the latest versions of the very many things you handle, getting to know which generation versing which generation, they get to interface with a Word and other tools that you use. In the same way, you can use the same while handling or leading your colleagues in case you choose to take this path, which I feel is inevitable. You should. And when you take that responsibility, I've told you, let us just give service. Sometimes in our settings, I am challenged. You would see in our settings of institutions, we have those government schools, but we also come back to these private institutions where you would find that the chemistry and how these institutions are run sometimes is challenging. You find the director is the bursar, is the warden, is everything in all. But whenever you get a chance to be given a position of that magnitude, I would always want to request you to inspire other people. Ensure that in your leadership tenure, there is someone who has transformed because of you being in that position. Also, we need to ensure that we differentiate. Sometimes we are called school managers. Sometimes people differentiate those two words, leadership and management. When you're a manager, you keep things running. But in leadership, you see that things run the right way. When you get that chance to be a leader, a school leader at that, let's ensure that things run the right way. It is also very important that we get to know in a school setting as leaders, our leadership will not only stop in offices. We have to get our hands dirty. We have to ensure that we come in early. We sometimes even leave late. Sometimes we reach at work in times when people never expected you to be there. So it is very important as a leader to also get to know that. But also as a leader in a school setting, you lead peers. You would find that what is the difference between you, who is now a leader, and the person or the teachers you're leading? You would find that some of them even are more qualified than we are. You maybe hold a degree, or maybe, I don't know, whatever qualification you might have. There might be someone in the staff room who has a master's degree. Now, you see, when it comes to qualification, you might be rating low, but you have that position. Therefore, we should be empathetic. We should be understanding in a way that we don't take colleagues as if they do not matter. We are all unique and we are all very importantly needed. So I want also to encourage members that we can always be very, very sensitive when we're talking to those people. But also as a leader, it comes with an aspect of the community. You would find that you're in charge of a school which is situated in a given society. Which society has the do's and the don'ts. It has what it believes in and what it doesn't. But most importantly from the society, we have our parents or even people who would wish our future clients. We need to also be very, very intentional as leaders, that as leaders, you also get to know you have to be in a watch, that people are going to be watching you. So maybe I would also want to talk about, if you would allow me, please, that as leaders, there are some skills which I think they are important for us to have. I've talked about vision. Members, we need to see beyond the present class. Then the ability to communicate is also very important. And as we are communicating, we need to also be good listeners. Therefore, we can also speak with the situation where we want to see that we inspire other people. In communication, we are sharing ideas and we ensure that we share them effectively. But also we need to have what we call collaboration skills, ensuring that we build a culture which is known as what we call teamwork. We can never work or do everything alone. As leaders in institutions or as future leaders, as I know you will become, I want you to always remember there is nothing you will ever do alone. Collaboration is very important. You work with fellow administrators, you work with teachers, both the teaching and the non-teaching. You also have to ensure that you work with the student leaders and across board, such that as a team, we can ensure that we even patch up each other's weaknesses, but also to ensure that what we are doing is not something we are going to benefit as a person, but as a team. And it is very important, therefore, whatever you do or whatever is accomplished, it is very important you bring back the flowers to the team you have worked with. Let them get to know it's not out of my abilities, it's out of our concerted efforts. It's like now you're seeing us here on Zoom, like it or not. For it to be a success, I'm seeing is 13 participants here. We cannot take credit that me as a person or it is you as Tom. It would be, you would even organize it and nobody turns up. So you would find that each one here has a contribution they are making. Let us always learn to acknowledge each one's effort. And as a leader, it therefore keeps you with people who will know that this is a person who is worthy dying or delivering service with. Is someone even I can come very early in the morning because I know he will recognize my efforts. The ability to be adaptable, I've talked about that. Empathy, here I want to be very assertive on this one. Please, as leaders or future leaders, as I've told you, we need to feel and put ourselves in the people we lead. In there, I think the right word would be putting ourselves in the shoes of the people we lead, either the children or the students we have, either the teachers we are leading. Regardless, we have to ensure that we always feel for these people. It is from that we can appreciate what they are going through. And it is from that they will get to know this person does not operate with us as if he's handling machines, that as he left them, he will find them the same way tomorrow. They also, by the way, need service. You would find that sometimes they may fail to function. Now, how about a human being, a biological human being who deals with emotions? Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're sad. Sometimes they go through highs and lows. So as future leaders or as leaders at our levels, I want to call upon you, dear teachers and comrades at that level. We always have to feel for other people. And that one will always help us in a good and better way. Also, you would allow me something very small here to share with you what would be the pathways as leaders or as teachers or leaders to be would we take in order to prepare a transition from what positions you are holding right now to a position you would really desire? Because members, we need to realize that, as I've told you, it does not necessitate in any way any additional. If you do any other, it's just added advantage. But I've told you, just teachers, leaders, and elsewhere, they have the bare qualifications that we all have. But why is it that they are leading? So how can we ensure that we take this pathway to leadership? It is very important that we volunteer, sometimes take responsibilities beyond the classroom responsibilities you have. Let the people who are in charge or the leaders who are there get to realize that, you know what, among the teachers we are having, there is a certain Segirinya Stephen, there is a certain Sebalam who is extremely active when it comes to such issues, such that when a vacancy appears or when an opportunity comes, it might not even be in the same institution, it might be in another one, but this person will get to know how you have been serving, and from that, they can recommend you. Sometimes do not take volunteering or taking such extra responsibilities as a wastage of time. It might not even realize fruits immediately, but I want to tell you, a time will come where you will need to apply the skills you learned. Another one is to take initiatives as ICT teachers. Take on the social media handles of the institution. Volunteer to see that you can have what we call the website. I want, again, on the same note, to applaud Mr. Segirinya. I'm sorry to use you as a reference, but when you were a teacher with comprehensive, I remember you had got an opportunity to go and study website development and design, something like that. You went and used our institution as a benchmark, I think, something like that. You did as well, I think. But what am I saying? That you were doing that, but you were also acquiring skills, which I so much know until to date, or even as you progress in life, as you are going to ensure that you learn, these skills are beneficial to you and they're bettering your life. And I know people will spot your abilities, and with that, who knows, even where you are, you might become a manager. This story can be a story of anybody, and all of you who are listening unto me. It is not a wastage of time. Take initiatives, take lead, be innovative, find those gaps where your school is lacking, especially in your field. Begin from where you're strong, where you're knowledgeable, and take and use these opportunities to see that you can add value to the institution. As you're adding value, the school is going to be noticing. If it does not notice and value what you're doing, I want to assure you, someone will be noticing. It can even be your learner. And before you know how God does his things, in 3, 4, 5 years from now, that learner will be an appropriator. He wants to begin a school, and he remembers there was a certain Sebalamu Tom who was a very good teacher of ours, who loved us so very well. He was so creative, innovative. He took lead in very many things. And your story can be another one of an administrator somewhere. Why? Because you took initiative. Also, let us build personal competency. That is very important. I've shared here a story of Mr. Segirinya Stephen. I also want to borrow a leaf from you, Mr. Tom. I notice and I really observe what you're doing. As my former student, I would proudly say you're one of a kind, super grateful of what you're doing and how you have no limits, you have no barriers. I am told recently, I think you are the publicity secretary for the ICT teachers, I think in Uganda. Is it in East Africa? Something like that. What I'm saying is, you can see you are adding value onto yourself. And what does that mean? you are taking up any lesson, you are pursuing any other additional course. Colleagues, recently I was doing a diploma with the University of Buckingham. Again, it's on how to deliver content. I've talked about John C. Maxwell. He has also a course that is taking place in Uganda. It is called iTeacher Transformation Uganda. I also took part in that. You can see, pick up anything you find along the way, because in the end of it all, as a teacher, we need to be knowledgeable, and sometimes knowledge gets outdated. So I want to encourage you members to always take up such opportunities. Attend workshops, very important. I've shared with you. I happen to be now the district education leader of STAR Education Program. And I've told you, it is schools, teachers, innovativeness for results. But every term, they come up with modules, they come up with a theme. And these themes come with updated methodologies of teaching, which we can use in the competence-based curriculum. I don't want to speak so much about myself, but what I know is I am one of the best teachers that has ever been. Why? I always learn, relearn, and I unlearn. I always make sure that whatever I learn, I come back and I share with my colleagues. And I know some of them have a lot of respect towards me. Why? Because I go and I fetch knowledge and I bring it to them. They also transform. I've seen my learners performing well. Performance every year, I challenge my teachers. Even though I'm a head teacher, but I know my subject will be the best done. And the year passes, results come back, and I am a center of knowledge. It adds on to me as a leader. Therefore, even you colleague teachers, take up those. Begin with your subject. Learn new methodologies we can use. Become it's called an authority in your area of specialty. And what will happen? You never know where it can take you. Also take on some simple courses in budgeting and among others. Also, another one which I would want us to think about is demonstrating impact, ensuring that wherever we are as teachers, I want to request you, ensure that you are felt, you are seen, not to be seen as if you are doing something, but when you are doing something transformative, let you be felt, not through words or speaking a lot, but through your actions, actions which have life impact, actions which are transformative, actions which add value. You have to ensure that you demonstrate impact in everything. Another one is to network. I love what you're doing, you dear colleague teachers. This is very important. Network, make networks. It has always been said, it is someone's, I think it is, my net worth is, there is that saying which I'm forgetting, but I believe you get to know that it is about the more people you have, the more opportunities you will have. We are biologically social being. We need people around ourselves. It is this person you meet today. Even you might meet them when they are at their lowest. But I want to tell you, there will be a day where these people or this person can also give you a favor. And that is life. So you never know which people you will be meeting. So whenever you meet someone, treat them with respect. You never know, this person might be leading you to your leadership position. Also, importantly, have a mentor. Have a mentor. It is very important. Have someone you look up to. Once in a while, when you're facing situations, reach out to them. Ask them, how were you able to do this? Especially in your line of service. Now that I'm challenging you people to become leaders in school settings, get either it was your head teacher, your director of studies, or your current head teacher or director of studies, anybody, ask them, how can I do what you're doing even better? People are out there. They are looking for people they can share with the skills they know. Before you know, you might be that person. And now, since you get a mentor, you learn from their experiences, their past mistakes, that when you get a chance to exercise or to perform this responsibility, you will not operate on a novice mentality. You're going to operate on a situation where even you have stories of those that have served in the same positions, but also to use their weaknesses or areas where they found challenges that for you can perfect. So it gives you that. You don't start at nothing. You start from people's experiences. Maybe also to read. I know this one is hard for very many of us, but reading is also extremely important. So another one is I wanted to share with you some simple quotations here. If you would allow me, I can see I've took some good time speaking. I'm not listening to you people. Sometimes in our country we have issues of network, but I want to pray that all of you have been you've got me rightly, and I will be welcoming maybe some questions in case. But you would allow me give you some of these quotations, especially about leadership. Lead through service, not authority. I've worked with many people. Many people have issues with my leadership style. And I am someone who has demonstrated that when you serve and the people you serve get to know that your service is to better them, your service is to improve them, your service is nothing but to see that you get the best out of them, they will always and always respect you and follow your lead. And if you would also be humble in one way or the other to seek their opinion, you will never regret having led such a team. Very important. But when you choose to use your authority, that is your title, that is your office and your entitlements, and you believe that everybody has got to bow down because the head teacher has come in, the dose is here, nobody can cough, none can sneeze. People even begin being sensitive on even how they will look at you, how they will talk to you, or how they will move. I want to tell you, you will have led these people through fear, but that fear will always be conditional. It will never be meaningful leadership. And I want to tell you and promise you, people, if you choose to use authority, get to know that those people will just be pretenders before you. And therefore, you will have misled them, given them a bad example. Secondly, the leaders of tomorrow are those who can guide others through change. And ICT teachers live in change every day. I told you how you are lucky that you are teachers of ICT. As teachers of the same, I've told you, naturally, there are some advantages you will have at disposal. And how I wish, beginning from today onwards, you become intentional and you decide to build from those skills you have as a teacher of ICT. Put them at a wider spectrum. Begin seeing them in a way that goes beyond your classroom, and you see yourself into a manager, a leader. I want to assure you, you people, you will become leaders and great leaders at that. Next is, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. Very, very important. As leaders, or leaders to be, I want to task you with that very powerful quotation. It is very important that Yes, we want to take charge. We want to be the one leading. But no, we are saying as leaders, you have got to die a little and realize that you have people before you who you have to take care of. Very important. Then also remember, leadership is learnable. Yes, do not feel as if it is for the humanities, teachers of humanities, teachers of history, teachers of CRE. They are the ones who should be head teachers. No, you can also take on a journey and you start making yourself better. You learn, you learn, you learn. Leaders are not only born, but they are made. So it is very important. They are made, and this is very important, that we can improve. Then, what else haven't I talked about? Really, I think I've talked about a lot, and I would really be glad in case I get a question or two. Mr. Tom, let me hope that I've been talking to people and there is someone who has...
Sure. I am actually having questions here, but thank you very much, Mr. Rubama. I don't know if I'm intersecting your discussion or you still had to pass on something before we proceed.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you. We normally end at 9, but yes, this one is impacting and very helpful. I've personally learned a lot from this discussion. I had a question that was coming in first because we heard from you that it is good to have a mentor. It is good to learn from your bosses. And then we have a question here where somebody is asking what happens if you can't learn from your bosses? Because as you know, the audience is mainly for ICT teachers. And by the way, Mr. Luama, for your information, we have people that are streaming live on YouTube. They may not be able to ask questions here, but at least they are monitoring and following up. So how do you deal with having people that you cannot learn from? That is one. Number two, you also talked about make sure you are felt and you are seen. Because we are ICT people and normally there is a lot that is on our table. Some of these things are done in an element of voluntary work. You are a teacher, your job description tells you to teach, but you go an extra mile, you are the lab attendant, you are the data entrant, and these are things that are completely not paid for. We could take it in a good spirit of, yes, volunteering is very okay because someone else is watching, just like you said. But then most of the teachers are in schools where hard work is rewarded with more work. I don't know how best you can advise and guide in line with that when it comes to leadership.
Okay. Thank you so much for these two questions. I've also read from the chat this one of what happens if you can't learn from your bosses, i.e. The DOS and HM. The second question has been that you've talked about at the end of it all, sometimes hard work is rewarded with more
More work.
more work. And
I'm having another last one, by the way.
okay.
How do you manage? How do you manage doing your work entirely so well versus outshining your boss?
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Are you hearing me? I think let's begin from what happens if you can't learn from your bosses. I think someone who was asking this question is putting it in a situation that maybe there isn't anything they can learn from the DOS or the head teacher or the HM around them. This is very possible. I've seen some people who, once they get such offices like being directors of studies, like head teachers, they now begin behaving as if they have arrived. They now begin to think that, you know what, maybe I am the very best, maybe because I know it all, and therefore I cannot challenge myself to add any value or anything onto myself. So when they behave as if they have arrived, then they tend to have this bossy-like mentality. Then they want to be respected so very much. And at that, these people who are below them, instead of finding them inspirational, finding them as people they would borrow lessons or learn from, they end up finding them as if people who are in showbiz and people who are literally, if you would allow me use this word, disgusting to look at. So in a situation, you as the teacher below such leaders, you find that there is nothing. But I'm saying, even if it is negative as it is, Mr. Tom and Mr. Mwesuka Joshua, as you have seen the question from you, you change that negative they showcase, because they are human beings. And I know a person who does not, you can't learn from, is someone who is doing maybe things the other way around. Now, for you, change it. Take the lesson the other way around. They are braggant, be humble. Take that from them. Do not do the bad they are doing, but pick the bad and learn to be humble if they are not humble. If they are not doing anything to inspire you, I've taught you today, and I know it should be that way. As leaders, you should make sure that you inspire the people before you. If you are below a leader who has nothing inspirational, who does not bring that into you, then learn that when I get this chance, or even as a teacher right now, I should be one who will speak life before anybody who has come under my stewardship. I would want to say, I don't know if it can help, but I so much believe it can. But again, do not limit yourself from on using this only head teacher orders as a yardstick. I've told you they are what we call alternative head teachers and directors of studies elsewhere. We have heard about them, we have seen them. Reach out, go beyond that, go beyond the boundaries of your gate. Look at sister schools and other people and how these head teachers behave, how these directors of studies behave, how these senior men and women behave. Borrow a reef. Then another one is, I've told you, let us read. Let us look for knowledge. Now, information is everywhere, colleagues. Anywhere. You can look for the ideal type of a head teacher, an ideal type of what? You can search about anything. You can watch anything on YouTube, on chat. I've had very many alternatives. There is a lot of knowledge. You can get books about leadership. You can get things. If these leaders you are having, they are not emotionally intelligent, you can get books about that. Enrich yourself. Enrich yourself. Do not allow the qualities of a bad leader before you impact you also negatively. It would be really very bad if you choose that. Then I think this one, I will connect it to the third question, Mr. Tom, you asked. Now, how do you manage doing your work well? Vis-a-vis not outshining the leaders at your workplace. This is a tricky one. I want to tell you personally, I've had issues with this. This is a personal experience. Sometimes we are below people who have taken really so little to do any advancement, any improvement about themselves. But I want to tell you, they always put their positions in front vis-a-vis their responsibility. Some of them even fail at their responsibilities, but they want the respect like nothing. I want to tell you, in such a situation, you will always find trouble. But what I've seen life teaches me is one, you have got to also get to realize that there is always a reason as to why you are in that workplace. There is a reason as to why maybe you are below such a leader. Incompetent as he might be, in whichever manner he or she would want the respect and whatsoever, we have also got to learn that we should also be humble. With the young especially, we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of energy, but you might find that because of limited resources, we are not yet there to start, for example, our own institutions, maybe to start our own businesses. This one might be even on a wider spectrum. It is very therefore important that we can serve those who are above us in such a way that you are also preparing yourself to be served one day. It does not sometimes look well, even when you're knowledgeable, even you are very much hardworking, even if you know it all. I've seen some people failing on jobs, not because they did not know what they are doing, but because they failed to balance that with their bosses. It goes back to the 48 Laws of Power of Robert Greene, where his first law was talking about never outshine your bosses or your master. It is very important to get to know, what do they want? Can I give them what they want? And I also work in an environment which is not toxic. Because I want to tell you, the consequence of working in such an environment, especially if you have no other alternative to get another opportunity, it is really challenging. What you do is, how do I really find a balance that I can keep doing my work, but when my boss is also in the know or in support? It is very important to get their consent. This one, therefore, will push you, Mr. Tom, and everybody listening to me, to more hard work. Why? You prepare in time whatever you want to bring on board. You prepare in time whatever you want to be done. And when you do this, present it to them. Let them have a word or two. Find a way that you can add, they can add a voice. Because when this is done, they would see you doing work with their consent, and you will always get their blessings. But it is one of the most challenging things. From experience, I can tell you, but this is a world which deals in reality, not idealism. What would have been in the book, sometimes you're going to find that it is not what happening in reality. You're going to find that when we go to campus and we graduate, we are taught theories and things. But I want to tell you, colleagues, from experience, when you come in institutions and in the real world, things operate the other way around. The technical know who is working more than the technical know how. People we are working under, they are less qualified. You will even find that the security guard at the institution where you're working as an ICT teacher or a director of studies has more powers than the one you have, you as a head teacher. What do? Take also time to study your job, study your bosses, get to know the power dynamics. How do I play around with them? What are their interests? Give them the interest, and you also have an environment where you can work smoothly, because in the end of it all, whatever we do, our mental health is also very important. And our emotional well-being is also equally important. Then you also asked about the other question of hard work, more brings about more work. If you still have the energy, as I know we have the energy as teachers, especially if we are still employees, you can never be an employee and you don't have energy. Once they are giving you work, a good thing is out of your hard work, please do it. The only challenge, as I've told you, it might not pay off immediately. But I've told you, it is training you. There are very many things as people to become successful we should build. There are those levels of resilience, levels of multitasking, being able to see, because in the end of it all, even you will need these skills in everything you're going to be doing outside there. What I'm saying is, do not say no to this work. Maybe now, if the institution, especially these small institutions that we work in, sometimes you might find that even this extra work which is given, there is no other payment being given. That is a little bit unfortunate. Then you can use the authorities around to seek that at least some allowance might be given for some extra work. But even if it's not given, I so much believe very soon you will be the person in that office, or you'll be an appropriator having the same business. Back to you, Mr. Tom, and everybody listening to me.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ruama. Very insightful discussion on the topic. I want to remind the people that came on the call a bit late and those who joined our YouTube that this session is streaming live on our ICT Teachers Association of Uganda YouTube channel. So the recording can be found there so that people can have a direction of how we've gone. Mr. Ruama, thank you very much. This was supposed to end at 9. We are 24 minutes late, but strictly for the better, and we strongly appreciate. There is another question where somebody was asking, what should I do if I feel like I can do more than my dose? But I think it has been answered along the way, where we understood things like understanding the power dynamics in your school and also learning that nobody is there by mistake. My takeaway was a lot as an individual. I learned that whatever you are doing, you need to be felt and seen. I've also learned that volunteering is always the first step where people can be exposed to what you can do. And when you decide to do it, you do it with hard work. I have also learned to get a mentor. I'm giving a summary of whatever has been discussed. Having a mentor is something very key. I've also learned that a manager and a leader are two different people, where a manager ensures that things run and a leader ensures that things run the right way. So people are always watching. Thank you very much, Mr. Ruama. I've had a number of people on the call, some were on and off, but also back to the ICT Teachers Association of Uganda. This session happens every Tuesday. We are always live on YouTube and our Zoom, and we are always empowering each other. Capacity building, sometimes directly with the subject, but also bettering ourselves as ICT teachers. We are bound to a network where we normally share a number of things from resources of the new curriculum and WhatsApp groups, where we discuss a lot in detail. Mr. Ruama, somebody is requesting for another session with you. I think we can discuss that at length off the call. Mr. Kajura Fred, allow me request you to give us closing remarks and a vote of appreciation and the closing remarks generally. Then we can close and we shall keep in touch. This session is sponsored by Izon School of Computing in Nabingo, the Kings of Internet and Computer Repair, Shareability Uganda Limited, where we access all educational resources for free. We have Rapt Media, those ones are in charge of media directly, and then Tosmic Events, which is also a sponsor when it comes to sound system, lighting, among others. So I want to close with the closing remarks from Mr. Kajura Fred, and preferably he will also give us a closing prayer as we close. Lastly but not least, Whenever anyone has a topic, they are free to share with ICT teachers. Kindly always inbox, and we see how to help each other get better. Thank you for whoever has joined. Mr. Kajura Fred, over to you. Kindly unmute. My assumption is that he is not in position. Okay. Yes, an opportunity goes to another person. I'm seeing someone called Medad Isingoma. Any closing remarks from you? These are people that came in after we had made introductions. Okay. Okay, Ataremwa Peterson, and we close. Oh God. Are they failing to unmute or something? Okay, let me pass that on to Bishop. The opportunity is very welcome. Yes, Bishop, unmute. I think the challenge might be unmuting now. I'm beginning to sense, even after Bishop requesting for the opportunity. Suna Bashir. Okay, anyone who is willing to take on.
Direct him on how to unmute.
Oh, I'm not certain if he's using a computer or phone, but you go to participants. Oh, okay. If you're using your interface for the phone, you have a menu down, and the first option on your left is mute. If it has a red cross, it is a sign that you are already muted. Maybe Mr. Joshua Mwesije. I'm seeing Mr. Joshua Mwesije. Kindly take it on first.
Thank you so much. I think I'm audible enough.
Very audible.
Yes, I want to thank you all for being here. And most importantly, I want to thank Mr. Luwama. Personally, I have learned, and based on the kind of questions I've been asking, I believe my answers, I have my right answers, and I know what to do right now, depending on the current situation that has been going on. We want to thank you so much, Mr. Luwama, and like I requested, I don't know if Mr. Sebalamu can talk with you, if we can have another session still about leadership, because personally, I am so much interested, and I believe in myself that I can impact people or students regarding in terms of leadership. But we want to thank you so much, and we hope to have another session with you. For now, we can humble ourselves and we have a closing prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for each and everyone who has been part of this program. We want to thank you for our facilitator, Mr. Luwama Stewart. Father, thank you for his life. Continue providing him with the wisdom, knowledge, understanding so that he can always impact our lives, impact everyone out there, Father. Also pray for the organizers of this program, Heavenly Father, that happen every Tuesday. May you continue providing for them. May you continue guiding them on what to choose, on who to choose to come and facilitate us here. We want to thank you for everything, and we want to sanctify ourselves into your precious blood as we're going to. Then we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
okay,
Mr.
good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Good night, you.
So meeting Adijan, see you next week, Tuesday.
Okay, sir.